Well, guys, I brought my brother on the platform to, you know, uh, tell us some things about himself. Well, he didn't really introduce himself, you know, the way I wanted to. Guys, this person was fastest runner when he was in school, fastest runner in Lagos, fastest runner in Ogun State. Well, Ogun State is, well, in Nigeria, close to Lagos State. But at the end of the day, I just take it as, somebody that is your par. London now, okay. I still see him, like being like an athlete. And I'm feeling like, wow, how have you been keeping yourself refreshed? And I saw you yesterday, still bouncing. I'm like, man,
Or maybe not fastest runner, but I mean, I was a quarter miler, and I was the leading quarter miler in Lagos State, and yeah, I did a stint also for another state, which is Ogun State. Yes, I think it's just it's a lot of discipline, and for me, I guess the motivation is just that. Look, I don't want to have a pot belly. I think I'm really scared of that. So I think that
so do you still do exercises as an athlete running, or do you still just do the normal exercises or whatever?
well, I don't think as an athlete, so I don't think age is on my side with that. So I don't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
definitely not as an athlete, but just to keep fit. So I do. I spend time in the gym. I do a lot of cardio, a lot of running. I cycle a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of cycling, and it's just basically to keep fit and maintain yourself, keep healthy. Try and watch, be mindful of what I eat, what I take in, and
Well, what do you eat, though?
when I eat. So I try to ensure that I don't take dinner, and yeah,
You don't take
yes,
dinner.
yes, I try to make sure I don't take dinner. Try to stop eating once
So,
it's.
so what do you eat then?
Yeah, I mean, I
Lunch.
eat breakfast
Right.
with lunch, but no dinner. Yeah, so and then.
Because
Uh,
people will be looking at you and, yeah, all right, you know what? Let me follow.
no, but one of the best ways to actually, when you're watching your weight, is intermittent fasting. It really
Okay.
helps a lot. So so you probably want to skip one of the meals in a day. Mine is just dinner. Just because I feel, look, if I eat to bed, it probably won't, digest
Digest, right.
properly. So I try to skip that. Some other people eat dinner, they skip lunch, but it's all about, being mindful of what goes into your system so that you can, you know, still keep fit.
So in Canada, do you have to go jogging outside?
Because during summer, yes, that I do. But because, as you know, we're in 6 months of winter, so it's not easy to go outside to run. And then you have to do it in the gym, use the treadmill. But during the summer, yeah, the summer months are always pretty hot, so you can always do that outside. And yeah, but during winter, you do it indoors.
Okay. Uh, since you left
Mm.
Lagos, as an athlete or an ex-athlete, how has it been, when you switch from track and field and then you switch to the office? How was it?
Okay, so first off, it's I switched from track and field athlete not because I wanted to. It was just because I think I wasn't making the breakthrough. I was, that's a story for another day because I'm not going to say that is my fault. It's just, it was the situation I found myself.
Well, the Nigerian situation.
I don't want to say that.
No. Say
I don't want to say that.
The lady I always follow, she always say, so the Nigerian, so
yeah, it is. It is pretty much the Nigerian, and it's still what is happening today. That's why you hardly find any Nigerian athlete getting anything at any major competition, Olympics or whatever. The ones that are making a headway are the ones who are based in the States. And I think right now is pretty much one of them, the lady that is running the autos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this other young lady who is doing the triple jump, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think Brume or something. Yeah. I think those are the only two right now. But really it's...
Well, definitely there are people in Nigeria that still do track and field. But of course, you need the sponsorship.
Oh yeah.
You need the money.
You need a lot of things. It's not just the sponsorship. You need the environment. You need the facilities. You need the exposure. So it's a whole lot of things that, you need, which, a lot of Nigerian based athletes don't get. So it's going to be difficult for them to excel. Their counterparts in other countries are getting all these things. So, their counterparts in UK, Canada, US, Italy, name it, they're getting all these things. And that's why they are doing so well. For me, when I switched over, then I just felt, look, so the thing about track and field is you need to make the best use of it at some point in time, because if not, age is not always on your side. You keep growing. So unless, which is still what is also happening right now, a lot of people are, maybe 40 claiming to be 18, right? So, which is what is happening in Nigeria. But, so for me, when it got to a stage, I was just like, hey, you know what, time is going. I'm not achieving the kind of success I want to achieve here. So, okay, I'm a degree holder. It's time I go back to get my degree and use that to start working. And that was how I started working. Switching to work, I don't think it was so difficult, really. If there is anything at all, track and field teaches you a lot of discipline, a lot of endurance, a lot of tenacity, a lot of consistency, a lot of hard work. That track and field gives you that. So if you can just bring that into any field, I think you should be fine. So coming back into, the professional office environment, it was pretty easy. It was pretty straightforward. There was a drive. There was a motivation. It wasn't like I had any other thing I wanted to do. So it was just like, look, you need to make the best use of what you have right now. So I went back. I got a job with a multinational firm. And I started working there. After a while, decided, it's time to get my master's degree. And I came into the UK, did my master's degree, was here for a couple of years, and then before I went back. So switching has been fine, and it's been good.
So will you say that, well, for you, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. But for some people who right now still, believing in their strength, their tenacity to figure out how they will succeed, whether track and field, sport generally.
Yeah.
Would you say have something on the side or be focused on plan A?
Well,
Because you had plan A, plan B.
Yes.
Yes.
But when you also look at it, the question is, would everybody have the opportunity of having a plan B? No. As at the time I was into full-time track and field, I remember in the Lagos State team, only two of us were like graduates, right? There was a guy who finished, I think, from the University of Port Harcourt and myself. Every other person, none of them was a graduate. So, and I think we were, now when you'd also look at the kind of environment you find yourself in Nigeria, it's pretty difficult, right? So, I mean, you look at US, for example, most of these basketball guys, that's why they have the system called the draft. I mean, the draft is you're coming from college or is it university?
Yeah.
And then, you're drafted. I mean, I think pretty much the same thing with this, the baseball guys too. They are drafted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you see the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron, Kobe, late Kobe. They all, when they had some form of education, right? Now, when you also look at the guys, most of the track and field athletes for US, most of them are students or former students of a university, right? So, and because they have a system that allows them to get scholarships, so that while they are studying, they can be doing their athletes. So there's so many sports scholarship, right? I mean, you don't have that in Nigeria. So, for them, right, the question now becomes, if these guys don't have a plan B, what happens? Now, for some of them, it's not everybody that is going to break through in track and field. That's the thing. Sometimes it's injury. Sometimes they're not just making it. I know so many guys then in my time that, didn't make it, and some of them just went back to doing whatever they can do.
Cool.
So if it's possible, right? I know it's pretty easy if you're in a country like UK, US, Canada, what have you, to combine academics with sports. The government encourages
UK, they fund your stuff and
the government encourages you. They give you the support, they give you the grant, they help you because they want you to be successful. They are looking forward to a time you're going to stand on a podium and you're going to sing the national anthem of their country, right? So they are looking forward to that. I mean, over there, it doesn't happen. I remember a time when I was in 300 level and I was invited to go represent Nigeria at World University Games, after we just came back from Spain, right? And so the letter of invitation was sent to my HOD to say, hey, somebody in your department is being selected to represent Nigeria at World University Games. And then the guy called me into his office and said, hey, I got this letter that you have been invited or selected to represent Nigeria at the World University Games. And I said, yes. He said, okay, you will be going when it's 300 level second semester exams. I said, yes. He said, do you know what that means? He said, that's automatica extra year. I mean, that's what the HOD told me then, so, and as at that time, I was even tired of being in school. So I wasn't even ready to get an additional, year. Now that will never happen in a country like UK, US, things like that. they would encourage you. I'm probably sure the HOD is even going to tell you, oh, you know what? We are here for you. If you need anything, let us know. We're going to give you the utmost support. We're going to because they are even excited that that guy is not only representing their country, he's a student from their school first, right? Who is going to represent their country, so they are so excited about that. So it's, not everybody gets that kind of opportunity. So would you say for all these athletes in Nigeria, can they, get a plan B? I don't even know, right? If they have a plan A and if it's the track and field, if they can work out at it, use it to get a breakthrough, yeah, fine. But now when you even look at most of the athletes, former athletes in Nigeria, you begin to ask yourself, okay, what are they all doing right now? I don't know what I remember we used to look for up to the Ezenwa brothers, who used to be probably the best in Africa then in the sprints. They are twins. I don't know what they're doing today. I'm thinking of some other folks, that we used to look up to. There is Sunday Bada, who is a quarter miler, who is somebody we all used to look up to. Falilat Ogunkoya, Mary Onyali. So there are quite a lot of them, but right now you begin to like, okay, so where are they? What are they doing? Things like that. I look at the people like, Michael Johnson, who is also, though an American, is somebody I also look up to. Then I still see the guy running commentary at major events for BBC
after TIA, which
I still see him running events for but then when you also look at it, Michael Johnson is one off, right? The others, so he just track and field is not like football that you finish playing and then when you look at it these days, Pochettino used to be a former player. Mike Lampard used to be a former player. Patrick Vieira used to be a former player. Pep Guardiola used to be a former player. What's this Italian guy's name? Who just left Tottenham? He used to be a former player. Conte used to be a former. So you find so many of them just like that. From Gerrard used to be a former player. So Rooney used to be a former player. So
true.
Mark Hughes used to be a former player. So you find so many of them. But for track and field, it may be good to have something that you want to do, so that even if you're successful or you're running, when you retire, you can fall back to that plan B, right? Or if for some reason you don't get the kind of success you want to get while in track, you can also do what? Fall back to that plan B.
Surprises you. Even now, till now, that, okay, why is still happening?
Where? In Nigeria? Would I say I'm surprised? Absolutely no, I'm not. I'm not surprised. If it was happening in the UK, I probably would be surprised, or somewhere else.
Why?
Because see, it's all about the system, right? It's all about the system. You don't have systems, you don't have infrastructures. So why would you not be surprised? Why will you be surprised that it's not happening? Look, when you look at developed countries, they have a system. They have a system to if you like, okay, you want to sing, or you want to go into soccer, or you want to go into track and field, they have systems, they have infrastructures in place. Just follow them. But over there, they don't even have any infrastructure. There is, we keep talking about this corruption. It's in everything over there. Everything. It was there while I was there. We go for competitions, right? The officials don't give us the allowance we're supposed to get, right? They don't. I think every time I was running, I was always using my own track and my own spikes shoe to run, right? But you know what? Somebody has probably collected the funds to say, oh, you know what? We're taking these guys for a competition somewhere, right? And we need to keep them up, which should be the correct thing to do. But then you don't see any kids. You don't get any. So you use your personal kits to run. I mean, those are the kind of things I'm talking about, right? The systems are not there. The structures are not there. The infrastructure is not there. So, and then to make matters worse, the leadership is also not there. So really, I'm not surprised that, I mean, when you look at, the Olympics, you begin to look at, okay, where are we getting medals? Right? You see a handful getting medals here and there. And then even when for world, it's in everything. Look at the last World Cup. Why is Nigeria not in that World Cup? To tell you the truth, I'm happy Ghana qualified, because Nigeria probably have gone there and they would have just used it as an opportunity to do what again? Make money. I mean, not the footballers. Yeah, those in charge of the football administration. They would have just used it as an opportunity to make money. So, so it's in everything. It's in everything. I mean, there is just so much, potential, so much talent. I mean, sometimes you look at the Niger Delta and you look at these guys who are born in the water and they've been swimming even long before they open their eyes. They grew up, and they grew up paddling. Canoeing is a competition at the Olympics. But did anybody develop those guys? No. These guys have been swimming, like I said, long before they open their eyes. But, do Nigeria even take swimmers? Yet we have a whole area that is practically on water. The people there give birth to their kids in water. The kids grow up in water. They live on water. They play some of them are swimming before they walk. So, that is potentials. But you see most of these American guys who, some of them don't even start swimming till they are like 16. And then they train for 3 years. And the next thing they come to Olympics, they come get a medal. So I'm still not surprised that, things have not changed.
Okay. I'm switching now. Yes, Mr. Tosin is also a pastor. Well, I know you are not
practicing
or having a vivid church right now. But how have you been doing in terms of spirituality and
okay, spiritually, fine.
I know it's different from where you came from and where you are right now. Spirituality there is different.
Why? Well, okay, so one environment is, truth is, whatever you do, you always need God. Whether you are in US, UK, Canada, Nigeria, you always need God. It's just a function of at what level or how do you need God, right? So, so you're in a place like Nigeria, you're like, oh God, please let there be light at home, let there be no traffic on my way home. Things like that. If it rains, you're like, God, please let me get to work on time today.
Yeah, and you use your faith in a different way
exactly. But so over there too, right? I mean, you're not saying, "Oh God, let there be light at home," right? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there is always light, but at the same time, you still need God. You just probably need God on a different level, right? With your relationship with God, right? You need to work on that. And then, of course, you're also trusting God for other things, career progression. Yeah, even though you live in a country where things work, you still need God for financial breakthrough. You need God for career progression. So you would always, need God, however we do it. Now, the other thing is, the way spirituality is in one country is different. Now, so you see now, like I always tell people that say, um, for Nigeria, right, or coming from that environment, it's, a bit judgmental, right? So, it's like people are enforcers for God. Right? Are
Okay.
like, oh no, you do this, or you no, 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 then you can't do this in church. Oh, you are this, then you cannot be this in church. Where over there, they are more open to accept people the way they are. Right?
Okay.
Come the way you are, I mean, you see, and it's not, it's, I mean, this happens a lot even in the US. You see so many people who are divorced, who got to know Christ and they give their life to Christ. They go to church and they are doing so well in church, right? There are so many churches in Nigeria that once you're divorced, they can't give you any title, no matter how committed you are, right? Because you're a divorced person, that's it. Yeah, they will allow you to come to church or whatever, but you can't hold maybe something like a deacon or,
I
whatever.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's it's also the way of spirituality, and then we also come from an environment where um it's the spirituality can be tied to the way you talk or the way you dress or the way you look. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, as a guy, you have earrings.
Mhm.
Oh no, you can never be a spiritual person. Right. But I mean, I remember the first time I came to UK and I went to KICC and the guy was leading worship,
Mhm.
is in, what do you call this, cornrows.
Mhm.
Right. So, and I mean, right now I listen to a lot of, Hillsong, right? And you see a lot of these guys leading solid worship,
Yeah.
and they have one small tattoo or even tattoos all over, right? I mean, I don't think where I'm coming from, nobody's going to even, nobody probably listen to.
Right now they do it now, most especially the younger generations. But
Yeah.
it's just that where we come from that
Mhm.
time, you know, they it was going to be difficult,
It
difficult.
still is right now, trust me. But like you said, yeah, some youth churches, some new churches, yes, fine. But it still is in a lot of, I mean, I don't want to mention the name of any
Yeah.
denomination
So
right now.
okay. When we talk about that, so how then do you then hear God in terms of that concept?
Well, Bible says, the gifts and callings of God are without, repentance. And it says, you know, um, work out your own salvation with fear and
Trembling.
trembling. So, I mean, I, for me, I'm not an adjudicator for God, right? God would always use whoever he wants to use, right? Depending on the relationship you have with God, right? He would always use whoever he wants to use, and he would always speak to whoever he wants to speak to based on the gifts and the calling you have. In terms of, how do you hear God, right? So are you reading the word of God? You hear
Yeah.
God. I mean, hear God in through meditation, through praying. So, and that's why I said it's, you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. It's all about, what is your own stance with God. Um, you know, Again, God speaks to us in different ways.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's through a witness, within your inner spirit. Some people will tell you, oh, you know what? I heard him clearly. I mean, I don't doubt them. But for some other people, it's just through something within their spirit, man. Telling them something just says, I shouldn't go this way or I shouldn't do that. For some people, it's just opening the word of God to read the word of God. So it's all about the relationship we have that actually determines how God, ministers to one individually. Or for me, the way I see it is nobody's perfect, but then, right? Even Paul was not perfect. That's why I said, even, it says, my strength is made perfect in your strength is made perfect in my weakness. So, it just shows that even, Jesus said, for we do not have Bible says, for do not have a high priest who cannot bear with the feelings of our infirmities, but he was in all ways tempted like we are, yet without sin. So it's all about us managing and working on those, vulnerabilities. As men, asking God to help us manage them. It's important we manage them. That's the thing. I do not see somebody saying, oh, money is a vulnerability for me, and then we can't trust you with money. And then
Yeah. Few years ago, and I've been, bringing this vulnerability into line. Like, okay, I had this, TIA thing one time, 2017, and everything in my life that time was standstill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I lost everything, vocal cord, my memory, everything. And I remember, before then, I remember you led me to this prayer when we're growing up, about, Holy Spirit. Now, when that thing happened, that was the only thing in the world that I could only relate to. Because talking to people, they just look, I want to say or express myself. Yeah. But the words didn't come out. Yeah. The brain, I couldn't even, you ask me, what's the time now? And I would I might even call it whatever I want to. And that's even if I can't say it. Yeah. And that was a part, for me, a vulnerable time.
Yeah. And so that was for you, that's kind of like, a trying time, right? That made you vulnerable. That's the way I would put it. It was a trying time, that made you vulnerable. But you know what? You still managed that situation very well, right? So, we all get in situations that make us vulnerable. Different things, right? Gets us in position that makes us vulnerable to one thing or the other. In your own case, it was a medical situation. Which still, you have people today, like I know people who, I know somebody and I know the person very well that had a brother who was sick and they prayed, did everything. They prayed, they did everything. The guy died. And since then, this person has, denounced God.
Yeah.
Right. So, they're like, what, this God doesn't exist, doesn't do this, doesn't do that, this God doesn't. So, that was a trying situation. Got the person vulnerable. I have a friend who, or there is a
So
saying
will
that,
you say they okay? Will you say they didn't hear from God?
um, would hearing from God be everything? Right? I think, you know what? I think for us too, as Christians, we also need to get to a stage, right, where we trust God. That's what I always say. We just need to trust God. You probably may not hear from God, but doesn't mean He's not working in the background. So it is the trust that we have, right? I mean, you can't say in for these people, I'm not gonna say they didn't hear God or heard God. They were rather focused on, which there is nothing wrong with it. They were focused on, like, look, this guy has to be healed. This guy has to be well. So they were so focused on that. And this person was so pained, that after praying, they still lost the person, right? You know what? At the same time, I also know somebody who I'm also very close to who lost a sister, in the same way. I mean, you know what this person just said? The person said, you know what, God? I mean, you are still God. I don't know what else I'm going to do, right? I mean, I can't run away from you. I can't blame you. I'm pained. I'm angry. I'm upset that I've lost my sister, but you know what, God? I mean, this person is still, I know the person very well. This person is still tight with God today. Now you have the same situation happening to two different people. One has denounced God, one is tight with God. So
it's like a tunnel.
yeah. So would you say, right, that this other person had God? No. The person has just gotten to a stage in their relationship with God, and they're like, look, you know what, God? You're still God. Whatever happens, I mean, fine. I mean, the other person, you know what? I'm not going to judge or condemn them because nobody knows what they can do until they get to a particular situation. But what I'm just trying to say is that in something like that, would it have been a case of God coming down to tell them, hey guys, don't worry, this person is going to die, but you know what? Don't worry, I'm going to console you, I'm going to do this. I mean, you have, scripture says something. It says, all things work together for good. So it's now, that's why I'm saying that. Now, even that alone, if you remember that alone, that is God talking to you, right? If you know that, look, this situation, it says giving thanks in all circumstances. Now, it didn't say give thanks for all circumstances because you can't give thanks for every certain circumstances, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you lost somebody and say, oh God, thank you for allowing this person to die. But it says giving thanks in all circumstances. So, you can say, oh, well, God, this person has gone, but you know what? Well, we're still going to thank you for this person's life and everything. It's painful. It's devastating. It's depressing. But at that point in time, I mean, for the two people, are they hearing God? It's just at that point in time, it's not about hearing God. It's about how they know God, right? I mean, it's the same way you see a parent who scold one child and the child and the parent will still get closer. At the same time, a parent will scold another child, the child will hate, the parent, so it's all about the trust. It's all about, and that is why I think, relationship with God is really, really key. It's, it helps you it just helps you to kind of trust God, even when things are so not going south or not going the way you want them to be, you kind of like just tell yourself, you know, is the kind of trust Abraham had in God when God told him, look, sacrifice, Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of like, I know this guy now. I know, don't worry. If I kill this guy, he'll probably give me 6 more. So I mean, and that's why we call Abraham the father of faith, right? So I mean, so would it be okay? Yeah, it's good if you can hear God, but in that situation, the thing is, um are you settled enough to really hear God at that point in time? So because you know what you want, you don't want this person to
Yeah.
to die. So I mean, so it's all about your trust, I believe.
Yes, Tosin. Thank you guys. Unspoken answers to unspoken questions. Yes, to wrap it up, what can you give it up to get to our people here watching us every fortnight?
Okay, so yeah, what I'll say to everyone is be focused on your dreams, trust God. Things are going to work out for your good. No matter what it is you're going through right now, things are going to work out for your good. I love a song that says, even though we don't see God, he's working. So he's working behind the screens,
Yeah, behind the screen.
Yeah, it says, even though we don't, he never fails, he never stops working. He never stops working. Yeah. So right now it probably looks like, he has stopped working. Believe me, he's still working. He has you at the back of his mind. Things are going to work out. You just do what you need to do. Be focused. Trust the name and be rest assured that he's got your back. He's certainly, it looks right now like he doesn't have it, but I know he does. He does have it.